Hello, welcome back to Easy Research Talks. We are back live on a new day and a new topic. And today, as I promised, we are going to be talking about a very important topic, which is how to connect in an angry world. So, welcome. You are free to share this wherever you are watching us, either on Instagram. Thank you, Mr. Akiwande 462. Hello, Luke Z 005 on Instagram. So we are online, we are live at Easy Research Talks, also on YouTube. Today promised to be an exciting one because of the topic. I think the topic we are here to discuss today goes in the heart of creating peace and harmony in our society. And I think this is very important, especially now that we live in a very polarized world. I mean, we see often and often, again and again, how polarized our world has become. You know, we are polarized socially, economically, religiously. It seems to be like there's always a reason to dislike someone, to hate someone these days because of their views, because of their belief, because of their economic activities. And I think it's important to understand that it's normal for us to see things differently. It's normal that we don't have the same views, and then we still communicate and connect and relate with each other. But none of this will be possible. None of this is easy to do if we do not understand how to connect, how to relate. Like I always say, communication, it's all about connecting and relating, because the essence of communicating is to connect with people. Any form or any type of communication, there are three things that must be present, right? There must be the sender of the idea. There must be an idea that you want to communicate, and there must be the sender and the receiver. So what's communicating, it also means that you are connecting with the other person, with the person you are communicating with. So the essence of communication is connecting. And it seems we forget this most often. So you see people communicating with no intention of connecting, and that's why it's become so easy for us to just be shouting at people, or like I often say, we backbite in front of people, right? Because all you are doing is talking about people and not giving them chance to respond, or not understanding them, or not, offering ways of connecting with them. And I think that is not getting us to anywhere. So I wanted us to discuss how do we connect, how do we connect in this very polarized world that we live in. And if you come to think of it, the polarization in our societies, in our world generally, is not entirely our fault, because we live in a digital era, right? Every one of us, we have access to social media. We are either on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, or whatever. But the problem is, if you see how these social platforms work, they kind of like, encourage polarization, because oftentimes we are served with content, news, uh, videos, whatever, news and content that agree with us. Okay, we are always consuming content, media content that agree with us, because You are served whatever you are served on social media based on your history of consumption, right? If you are the type that like music, you watch music videos often on social media. So it's common that you always see suggestion for music videos. If you like a party, if you like a political idea, if you like a religious group, you will most often will be getting, hello, Ridzi 20, how are you? Somebody is waving on Instagram. So if if you like a particular type of content, it is normal that you will be receiving similar content, and because of that, it kind of make it possible for us to create a kind of like a bucket or a box whereby we are living circle of those that agree with us or things that agree with us. That's why it's possible for us. So we create these in versus out kind of like groups. So we are always looking for people that agree with my group versus if you are in my group versus out of my group. Okay, so every time we see people or we see a new idea, we are judging it based on, does it agree with the group I belong in, or does it go against this group? So every one of us, if you are not careful, we have this tendency of always vilifying or disagreeing or looking for ways to disrespect or disagree or to fight or to hate a group of people. And that is because of the stuff we are consuming on social media. So the funny thing is that sometimes this kind of thing can also grow into a level where people become violent. They are fighting each other because of ideas, because of viewpoint, and it doesn't help anyone. It does not help society. It does not help our personal growth, and it does not help our psychology. When every time you go out there, you go on social media, you kind of be rest assured that you are going to be seeing something or someone that you want to fight with. And that's what I want us to discuss today. How do we connect with people regardless of their different opinion or different ideology? Dr. Hector, thank you for joining us. Thank you. So I was saying that polarization is something that we can't do away with right now because of the social media, but we have to be intentional on you know connecting with people at the other side, because it's normal for us to judge people that, are you in my group or are you out of my group, religiously, socially, politically. It's normal to have these disparities of opinion and identity. But does it mean that we have to hate someone because he or she does not agree with us? Do we have to disregard people, disrespect people just because they do not agree with us? And that's what we will be discussing today. So I will be looking at your comments on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram, and I want us all to participate and contribute. Thank you, Lifestyle with Fika, for joining us. I want us all to contribute and be part of the conversation. So let's get into it. Why is it important for us to understand how to connect with people? Number one, or should I say, the best approach to understand how to with people in an angry world is the ability to differentiate personality from ideology, right? If you look at this, you will notice that it's becoming more and more difficult for people to differentiate persons from their ideas, because at the end of the day, we communicate with people, we connect with people, we relate with people. We don't connect or relate with ideas. Ideas are meant to be different. Okay, so it's never possible that all of us or a group of people we agree to a particular idea. It's normal for ideas to vary. Human being that will all have this the we all have similarities, more similarities than differences, right? So if we try as much as possible to differentiate people from their idea, then it becomes more easy. Khadija Karim, thank you for joining us. It becomes a little bit easy to connect with that person, understanding that this idea, the people behind this idea are people like me. They all want the same thing in life, just like myself. If you look at it, everyone wants to be happy, everyone wants comfort, everyone wants connection, stability, and all of this. So, and we might have different approach to pursue this goal, this human goals, right? But at the end of the day, we are all similar than we are different. So when we differentiate ideas from personality, it becomes a little bit easy, right, to connect with the people behind the idea, and then understand that for somebody to be thinking in a way doesn't mean this is who they are, or this is, if an idea is dull or is not sharp as your own idea, the person thinking of that idea might not, it doesn't mean that they are dull. Okay, you can be smart and have not very smart idea. It's very possible. Okay, it's not every time that your idea will be perfect, and it's not every time that your idea will be wrong, right? So human being, regardless of the dull or sharp idea, you will remain human being. Okay, and I understand that uh it's it's difficult, right? Because if you look at it, we live in an avatar world, right, where people are represented with image or with pictures on social media, and we tend to forget that there are people behind that profile. There are people behind that account. Okay, these are people like you. These are people that share some similarities with you. They share some human goal with you. Hello, Mazida. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Apkar. Thank you for joining us. So, as much as as much as it's difficult for us to understand that there are people behind the pictures we are seeing, behind the profile names we are seeing, we have to remember every time that ideas are different from the personality behind this idea. It's important to understand this. It is very important. And it became more easier when we can do that, when we can reduce the level of how much we bring personalities into ideologies. The number two step, or the number 2 point that I would say makes it easy to connect with people in an angry world is to reduce the attempt to villainize people. Because what we most often do every time is that we stereotype people, and then that gives us the opportunity to label them. And when we label them, we marginalize, right? So it's like a 3 steps that we it is the easiest steps to dislike someone, to hate someone. When you stereotype someone, you tend to label him, and then when you label the person, you marginalize the person. You don't consider, assigning any level of cognitive complexity towards them, because you already stereotype them, you already see them as not very smart people, not educated people, illiterate, liberal, and all of these, adjective or colors that we give people. So when we do this, we see them as this, and we label them, we call them different sort of names, and then we marginalize them, we consider them as somebody that don't deserve our attention, right? So it is important to reduce the attempt, or the urge to stereotype people and label people and then marginalize. Tayo Raj, thank you for joining us. So to label people, right? When you label someone, we give somebody a name, then you will be dealing with that label, forgetting that there's a person behind the label. Like I said in one of our last sessions, that when you consider somebody to be stupid, of course that makes it possible for me to deal with the person as stupid, because I'm already seeing this person as a stupid person or as an uneducated person. And sometimes you see this kind of comment in people. They say that, oh, it's because you are not educated, or you didn't study abroad, or you because you don't go to school. Whereas sometimes the person that you are labeling, or the person that have a different opinion with you, sometimes they might be smarter than us. Or because somebody didn't go to school doesn't mean that they are entirely stupid. I mean, every now and then we go around and we see how people that never step in a school, in a formal learning environment before, and they will have some sort of expertise in doing some things without ever being to a school. So it doesn't mean that because you have gone to a school in a place, or because you have a university degree, or because you hold a PhD, and then that makes you the wisest person on earth, right? You can still, it goes back to humility, or I should say, the respect that we have for people, right? So we don't want to stereotype, regardless of opinion or ideas that people have. We don't want to stereotype and label them as being uneducated, or uncivilized, unwise, and things like that. Because if you do, then it becomes easy for you to to marginalize them and see them as somebody that's not wise enough. How are you, Eminent Bruno? Thank you for joining us. So, guys, let me quickly recap here. The very first point I said today is separate personality from ideology. Understand that the people, all of us as human beings, we have similarities more than differences. And regardless of the opinion or ideas that you believe in, or that you do not believe in, we are still similar. We still have the humanity. We are still connected, on the basis of our humanity and our goals. We all want the same thing from life. And because of that, let's always look at the similarities, and overlook the differences, and that makes it easy for us to connect. And I think I should add here that because we live in an identity, we most of us, we live in identity politics. So identity politics is something that we see around us on daily basis. You see a subgroup or a subset group of people, trying to go against the general public, and then these people, they live, and they set a wall around them against the general public. So they give themselves names, and if you don't bear that name, or if you are not inside their group, you are automatically against them, right? Whereas sometimes, as a group, a number of ideas or opinion might bring you together, and people inside that group might not agree with everything that brings them together, but they are willing to accommodate that because you are within our group. For example, if there are two parties, okay, so if somebody agreed that I am a member of party A, and now in party A we might have a number of mission and vision, okay, we might have a number of mission and vision. It's possible that some people in that group not live the missions and visions because they agree to be, or they associate, they identify with the identity of that group. Members of the group will accommodate them, will absorb them, and things like that. But even when we see somebody out of the party, in party B now, agreeing or living, in accordance with that mission, we still dislike them just because they are not a member of our party or our group. So that's what happened when we are running identity politics. So we Hello, Mr. Sadiq. Thank you, Mr. Sadiq Ali. Thank you for joining us. So, for those of you that you are just joining, all we are discussing is how to connect in an angry world. And we have mentioned a couple of points. We started with separating personality from ideology. And the number two point that we mentioned so far is the ability to reduce the attempt, the urge to villainize people. You know, for you to be able to connect with people, you must be able to reduce the attempt of stereotyping them. Stereotyping is believing that, you know, people say my first impression, but the problem of stereotype comes from our mental scheme. All of us, we have this thing called confirmation bias, right? We create a scheme, a block in our brain that every experience we save it in there for the purpose of next time, right? So, for example, if somebody look like me and behave in a certain way, if it's the first time you are seeing someone that look like me that behave in that way, your brain will, create a tap for that behavior and the experience, so that whenever you see someone that look like me in the future, automatically you will fit that behavior into the experience you have. So you are quickly confirming that, oh, that's how people that look like this behave, right? So that's what we call confirmation bias. That's why some people argue that there's nothing called first impression, because we are all always referencing to our mental scheme to judge people. So because somebody believe certain way, we go back into our experience and say, oh, for somebody to believe like this, he or she must be stupid. For somebody to say something like this, thank you, Rahim, for joining us. How are you? So for somebody to say something like this person must be dumb, or this person must be uneducated, because that is the mental scheme that you create for people that look like that or people that behave like that. So you have to reduce that urge to villainize people, to stereotype people, to label people, and then to marginalize people, thinking that this person must not be smart because it looks like this person must be stupid because it's from this, or this person must not be wise because it does not educate or is not educated in the level in a way that I am educated. Okay, it's not always correct. People might not go to school and still be smart. People might not know how to read and write and still understand some issues more than yourself that you know how to read and write. So be humble, and that's number two. Number three point that I have for you today. Number three point that I have for you today is thank you to people on Facebook for sharing this live session. I can see you all sharing. Thank you. So number three is the oh my God, Dr. Hector is trying to join this. I I I doubt it's possible, but I will try. I will try. I'm trying to accept Dr. Hector to join us. I doubt it's possible, but let's see how that goes. So I was saying that number three is the something was wrong with my camera on YouTube. Okay, it's as if that Dr. Hector can join us. So I was saying that another way or another point that I have for you guys be on how to be able to connect with people in an angry world is the ability to dare to look deeper, right? You must be able to look deeper using an educated mind. I love this particular point. I mean, this is my favorite point I have for you today. I mean, this is something I want you to take out of this session today. Having an educated mind. So let's start by demystifying what is educated mind, because many of us, we go to school, we have degrees, and we believe that paper that we receive from universities is what make us educated. But the reality is, uh, education is all about growing our mind. Thank you, Dr. Sumera from Facebook. Dr. Sumera is saying that the perception that people, when I guess she's talking with regards to my previous point, which was when we label people, when we stereotype people, it makes it easy for us to disrespect them. And that's what she's commenting on. Thank you, Dr. Sumera Ramazan from Pakistan. Thank you for just Shamsuddin Najala Roof, thank you for your comment. So I was saying that the ability to look deeper, Habibi, Mr. Motaz, thank you for joining us. The ability to look deeper using an educated mind, right? Education does not have to do with the ability to read, rather, the ability to grow your mind, to entertain different opinions, right? Different opinion without necessarily agreeing with that opinion. So an educated mind is someone that have the maturity and the security to be faced with different opinion, right? Opinion that does not agree with your own, and you are open to it. You can listen to it. You are not away from any form of opinion just because it does not agree with you. Rather, you listen, you entertain, you accommodate, right? So, and that allows you to understand the reason, community, the emotions behind that opinion. Okay, so to look into ideology using your educated mind. Okay, so you have to grow yourself. You have to have this maturity, to have the security to entertain opinions that are different to yours, opinion that disagree with what you believe, and that does not necessarily mean that you're accepting with that opinion. Rather, you are listening to them, you are exploring their ideas and why they believe what they believe, okay, rather than blocking them off. An educated person is able to listen to any form of opinion. I hope that makes sense. And number four, the fourth idea that I want to point out is the ability to understand the reason behind the ideology. Okay, so many of us, we sometimes forget that ideas does not grow in a vacuum. Every idea that you see, that yourself you believe in, there are emotions behind that ideas, there are histories behind that idea, and there are community behind the idea. So if somebody disagree with your idea, understand the reason behind it, why they disagree. If you understand that there's an emotion, there might be a reason why they believe this way. Okay, you might be living in a place that does not, make it possible for you to believe that way, or your life, you have the empowerment that open your mind and your eyes to another's belief, right? This person is living in another situation, so their situation, their life situation, is the reason behind what they believe in. So if you know that, you tend to understand, change that opinion, that idea in one sitting, or you can't be frustrated that they believe in that way. So you understand and you respect them. Okay, so regardless of whatever they believe in, knowing why they believe in what they believe helps you to respect your opponent, helps you not to hate them. Okay, and that is the crux of what we are here to discuss: understanding the reason behind the idea, the community. Some of us believe whatever we believe today because we are born in that idea. So it's easy for you. You see your parents to believe it. You see your father, your mother, they believe in this idea, and you just take it from them. Similarly, Somebody has received ideas from their heritage, from their parents, from their culture. You can't change it in one conversation. It takes time. So when you understand that there's history behind this idea, there's a community. Because again, let's go back to why do we believe in everything we believe. The reality is that we believe because of a community. Ideas are a form of identification, okay, that allows us, it gives us like a ticket into a group of people, and it allows us to be part of people, right? And why do we need that people? Because at the end of the day, all of us, we are social people, we are social animal, like they say. So we need social support. So, and I believe if I agree, if we have similar ideas, we kind of like bound together, we become like a unit. We support each other, we give ourselves social support, social insurance, social capital, and all of that stuff. So if you are in a group today, if you believe something today, it's possible that you are a part of a group, right? And the people that believe otherwise, or they have opposing opinion, they are part of a group. So you have to understand that there's a community behind that belief too. You have to respect that community. And if you are not willing to offer them, a better, an alternative, you can't just drag people out of their own community. I mean, just like yourself, people can't drag you out of your community easily like that, because you are looking at, oh, so if I change my opinion, I'm going to become enemy with this person, my parents, my family, my this, my that. So it takes time to change opinion, especially opinion ideas that have history behind it, that have community behind it, and that have emotions. Another thing that I also want to point at this junction is when people say, they talk and say, you you have to be, don't be emotional, don't be emotional about this topic. The thing is, we are emotional people. We are all driven by our emotion. So don't ever believe anyone that tells you not to be emotional about a topic, because we operate with emotions. It does never happen that you do something that is not connected to your emotions, right? So when people want to cheat you, they tell you don't be emotional. We are emotional people at the end of the day. It's never possible that there's no switch to off our emotions and think without emotion, because every actions, every behavior is driven by emotion. So if you want to change people, you have to listen to their emotion. Okay, listen to the emotion behind their belief. It's very important, right? So if you understand their emotions, you listen to their emotion, that okay, this person is not comfortable with this point I'm putting over, or this person is not is angry or is sad. You pay attention to that and try to know how to manage your style of criticizing the idea. Try to know how to manage your deliverance, or know how you talk to them, because you can't hurt people emotionally and expect them to agree with you. I don't know if I'm communicating, if you guys agree with me. The Hijabite sister, thank you for joining us on Instagram. So, guys, we've mentioned so many points today. Number one, we started with separating personality from ideology. Okay, it's very important. Ideas are meant to be varied. Idea can never be the same, but people are the same. So look for the similarities in you and the person that you are disagreeing with, the person you hate. Number two, we mentioned the reducing the attempt to villainize people. Don't stereotype, because when you stereotype, it gives you the opportunity to label. And when you label people, then it becomes easy for you to marginalize, to disrespect, to dislike. Okay? Because you already labeled them, right? And number three, we said the ability to look deeper using your educated mind. And I know a lot of people would wonder, what do I mean by educated mind? And I said, an educated mind is somebody that gives people, that understand people's have the independence of thinking. You yourself, you have the independence of thinking. You see something, you have an opinion on it, right? And then you understand that as you do, other people also have that independence. They have that freedom to think. So now You are willing to entertain and accommodate people's opinion, people's ideas without necessarily agreeing or accepting that idea. Okay, that is what makes you an educated mind. I think it is Aristotle that said that the mark of an educated mind is the ability to entertain different opinion without necessarily accepting the opinion. Okay, so being able to listen to people, not blocking people away because they do not agree with you. Because what we do these days, we often try to use that block button on our social media because of a comment that disagree with what you are saying. People say, I will block you, I will block you. Then why are you communicating? Because when you are communicating, you a communication cannot be complete when you don't have the intention of connecting with people. So you can't be connecting with people when you are blocking them away, or because they have opinion with you. Okay, it doesn't happen that way. Blocking is a button that is used for people that troll you or disrespect you, abuse you, not because they disagree with what you are saying. Don't block people for because of their different opinion. Okay, it's important we understand that it says a lot about our psychological maturity or security. You have to being an educated person means that you are secure enough, you are mature enough to listen to different opinion and then you know understand it rather than rejecting it from the Ottawa boy. Thank you for joining us. How are you? So, and then we move on to the uh, fourth point, which was understanding the reason why people believe in what they believe in. Thank you, Habibi. So, the reason why people believe in what they believe in, it's usually because of their emotion. So, I said people cheat us a lot by saying that don't be emotional. It is not possible for us not to be emotional with whatever we believe in because human being, we are emotional people. We are all driven by our emotions. I mean, there are logic, but it doesn't mean that logic and emotion they work in isolation. They work together, And when especially when it comes to belief and decisions, emotions usually take the driving seat, right? I should use the analogy of driving. So logic is usually in the passenger seat. Often we are emotional, okay, about anything we believe. So if you are someone that wants to connect with people, listen to their emotions, listen to how they feel, about that topic, about that idea. So you don't hurt their emotions and say you are correcting them, or you are trying to change them, or you are trying to give them, why they shouldn't believe in that way. When you have hurt their emotions, it doesn't happen that way. So don't believe anyone that tells you to not be emotional. It's not possible. You can't switch it off. You are always emotional. So far, you are a human being. Okay, that's the point. And then we talk about history and the community, and I said the idea of identity, beliefs, ideas are a ticket that gives us, that allows us to enter into a group. So when you believe in something, you are a part of a community. There's always a community behind an idea, right? So not believing in it makes you an out member. You are in because you agree with the idea. So every one of us, whatever we believe in, makes us a part of a community. And somebody disagree with that idea makes them a part of another community. Okay, so instead of us always focusing on the differences like the in versus out community, so you want to be able to understand that they are relying on their community as you are also relying. So you want to respect the community behind the belief, the idea. Okay, so taking them away from that belief is taking them away from their community. If you understand that, then you understand the reason why you have to respect the community behind it, and it's allow you not to be frustrated if it's not easy for them to believe you. Okay, and also history, the culture, the heritage behind the belief. And the last point that I want to mentioned today, and this is kind of like similar to what I've said before, is to always look for common ground. And if you, I said at the beginning of this session that at the end of the day, human being, we all want the same thing out of life. We all want to be happy. We all want comfort. We all want money. Okay, we all want peace. We want happiness. We want to go heaven and go to paradise. All of these things make us similar, you know. So when we are looking at the common ground, you can never, you know, connect with someone when you are not willing to search for a common ground. So always recognize at least there's something that we have in common. Look for that thing we have in common. You know, the higher ground that connect us rather than the lower ground of what. Okay, so you are able to hate, you are able to dislike because you don't focus on what connects you with the person. You are focusing on the idea or the topic of discussion. So I hope you guys are taking something away from this conversation today, from this discussion, is that to connect with people is something that you will have to be intentional about, because we live in a increasingly polarized world where social media is making it possible for us to create a bucket where we are always connected with people that agree with us. We are always consuming content that already agree with our viewpoint, because that is the system, the engineering of social media. Every content we consume, I mean, you are my friend right now because we have something in common. You are on this session right now. Every one of you, we are friends on social media because maybe we've lived together in a place before, or we are living together right now, or because we are connected with our religion, or because we are connected with where we studied. And social media will be suggesting, you know, friends, movies, music, videos that agree with all of this identity, not what disagree with your identity. That's the engineering behind social media. And if we so it becomes easy for us to live in that bucket, in that box where we are only associating with people that agree with us, and we are always dislike or hating people that do not agree with us. Okay, so we have to be intentional to be able to connect with people that have different opinion with us. Okay, it's very possible. And I said, when you live so much in your pocket, in your box too much, you are always, you know, connected to your confirmation bias, the tendency to always confirm your mindset. We discussed something in the last session. Dr. Hector is saying on Instagram, he said we discussed something in the last session, especially when we are in a conversation with strong opinionated people, we can first validate the point, then we agree with them before this. Exactly. So to I think your point, you know, have a lot to do with the second point, Dr. Hector, which is to be able to look deeper. You know, being able to look deeper will allow you to first of all see something they that you agree with, okay, rather than quickly focusing on what you disagree in what they have said back or where they have responded with. And I appreciate that input. Thank you so much. So I was saying that eminent Bin is also saying that as a socialist, human being are irrational. Wow, that's true. We can be changed only by being offensive to one. We can't be changed when when we are offensive to another person. True. So we don't. You can't hurt people emotion and expect them to agree with you, right? That's why I said don't believe anyone that tell you to be emotional, to not to be emotional. It does not happen. We are all emotional, okay? We are all emotional. That's the truth. But what we want to do is to respect people's emotion, respect their feeling. When you are talking to someone, look out for the emotion, look out for how they are feeling. So somebody is not happy and then you are expecting them to believe you, it doesn't happen that way, or to agree with you. So thank you guys. Thank you, Eminent Bono, for that input. I love it so much. I love it. So, and I was saying, I was trying to recap Dr. Hector is also adding to his fourth point that we are a product of our process, which creates an individual biases. Exactly. I love that. We often believe Chinese products are fake and horrible, but we fail to understand it that China provides a market for everyone. True, true, right? So we already have that mental scheme, and every time you see made in China, you just quickly drop that product into your scheme, believing that from China it has to be fake, right? So, and I was saying it's a confirmation bias, a tend for us to always understand situation or shape experiences to fit with what we already believe in. That's why people will argue that there's nothing called false impression, okay? Because we all already have impression about things, so we are all looking around with that box in our head. So whatever we see, if it fits into that box, we say it is. If it doesn't fit, we say it's not, right? So we have the box of China being fake, and you are looking at things. You see, made in China, you fit it into fake because you have that box in your head, everyone, both cheap, low quality market and expensive, high quality market, this knowledge automatically changes out. Exactly, Dr. Hector. I love it. Thank you so much. So, please, guys, we are talking here about connecting with people in an angry world. And we have discussed a lot of why social media is culprit to the reason why we continually and increasingly become polarized, angry people. We all have a group of people that we don't want to talk to just because of what they believe in. We have so we are looking for identity. I talk about identity politics, like are you are you with me or are you not with me? That's what we are looking for, just because of belief, and it does not get us anywhere. Right? It's not healthy for our psychological development, our personal development, our professional development. If you are looking for ways to dislike people, you see more than enough, right? There's always reasons to dislike or to disrespect people. So you just have to be intentional. Intentional about what? Number one, I said separating persons from ideology. Understand that people, we have a lot in common than we have an idea is often but people, we are at the end of the day the same set of people. We all want the same thing out of life. And number two, we said we have to reduce that psychological laziness. It's lazy when we don't want to think. What we quickly resolve into is to stereotype people, right? And then when we stereotype them, we label them. We like, oh, is it Ridwan? Oh, of course, this is what they will do. It is a lazy way of thinking, right? I might believe this way today. Tomorrow, another idea, I have another reason or another belief towards it. Don't put people in a box. It is not, you yourself, look at yourself. Do you always agree with everything that comes, that you meet? You are not always right. You can never be always right. You can never be always wrong. And like I always like to say, no idea is 100% perfect, and no idea is 100% wrong. Okay? So if you know this, if you understand this, then you are always trying to be humble enough to listen to people and not stereotype them. Sometimes people say, what do you expect? Of course, he's not educated. Of course, he's not lettered. And this person on this particular topic that you are talking about might be even more experienced than yourself, that you are educated. No matter how much you study in a university, you can't understand how to change a car tire more than a organizer. You can't, and this for organizer might never be classroom before. Okay, and here you are lettered, you have your degree, you have your masters, you have your PhD. But when it comes to changing tire, both are not. This person is more experienced than you. So understand that the person that you are villainizing, okay, might be more experienced than you, might be more educated than you, might be more wise and smarter than you. but you don't care to see all of this because you already stereotype him or her, label him or her, and then them. You do not assign any complex cognitive complexity towards them. You believe they can't think because they do not study where I study, because they don't have the same. People will say you expect me to be discussing with somebody that don't have same education with me. I mean, somebody might not be educated as you are and still be smarter than you. It's very, very possible. Hello, Mesa. Thank you for joining us. So, and number three thing that we talk about today is to be able to look deeper with an educated mind. So, and I said being educated is not going to school, it's not being able to read, it's not being able to speak a language. Rather, it is the ability to understand that people have the freedom of thinking, right? You yourself, you have the freedom of thinking, and realizing and recognizing that other people have freedom, and then you train yourself to have the security and the maturity to entertain people's opinion, right? Without necessarily accepting this opinion. Okay, being able to listen to people, okay, regardless how different their opinion is with yours, and not be offended, so don't create that wall around yourself that if you don't agree with me, then we don't have to talk. People we treat ideas that does not agree with our idea like a contagious disease, like a corona. So we are always running away that I don't want to contact corona, right? Ideas are not disease. So if you listen to people, there's a lot that you want to learn. You'll be able to learn, oh my God, why these people believe this way? How, oh, so there's this another opinion to this. Oh, okay, so people can also see these things this way. That's what you are missing out if you can't listen to people. Okay, so grow your mind to be educated, okay, to be free to think, and then be able to recognize the ability of thinking from other people, knowing that they can also think, they are not stupid, right? So, but you can't do that if you stereotype them, if you label them, and if you marginalize them. And then I also talk about to be able to respect people, regardless of what they believe in, is to look at the reason behind their belief. Look at the emotions because we are all emotional. Okay, look at the emotion. Number two, I talk about the community because ideas make us a member of a community. And then if you know that believing in something makes you a member of this community, and then you enjoy the social support that comes with that community, you enjoy the social capital that comes with that community, also realize that people that don't believe with you or that believe in a different idea also have a community behind them. So realizing that will help you to respect them, okay? Because when they change their opinion, they automatically become an outsider. So it's not easy to kick somebody out of your house. You can't kick people out of their house. It's not easy. So regardless of what you believe in, it makes you a member of a house. Changing that opinion, you want to go out of that home. You want to go out of that house, and it's not easy. So if you understand this, it makes you respect people's opinion, and then you are not frustrated with whatever time it takes to change their opinion. And then we finalize it with always looking for common grounds, looking for common grounds in every idea, in every opinion. Focus on what we have in common than always focusing on what we have in what the uncommon attribute or features among us. Because if you do this, then we always have reason to dislike them. We have reason to abuse, even if the latter has a more valid point. Dr. Hector, I think I missed some part. So he's saying, Dr. Hector is saying that treating the subject of conversation constructively rather than the source of that opinion. Wow, that is brilliant. The opinion of someone we respect or associate with we accept easier than someone that we don't. Exactly. So doctor, to corroborate what you see, people, when we are with somebody that is within our group, okay, even when they disagree with us. Just be, oh, are you same country with me? Are you sharing the same ethnicity with me? Are you sharing the same religion with me? We will accommodate. But when we see somebody that doesn't share this identity with us, we are villainizing them, calling them stupid or different type of name. Whereas somebody you live it, you might also believe differently, but they are willing to accommodate. So at the end of the day, we are all playing identity politics. We are playing identity politics and looking for reasons why to, dislike people that are not within our community. So that's the idea. And I am you've made this live session. And Eminent Bono, thank you for your input as well. And waving at me. I have missed out anybody that waved as much as possible to greet you all back. And I hope you are taking something, especially people on Facebook and YouTube. I hope you are taking something out of this conversation today. Guys, it's important, harmonious, a peaceful society. Don't be carried away with the uh, polarization out there, because it doesn't help anyone. You hate someone because of what they believe in. You never can tell where you will need them tomorrow. You never can tell where you will meet them tomorrow. And then just because of an idea that even maybe at that time that you need their help, they themselves do not believe in that thing anymore. But now you can't reach out to them because you have labeled them, because you have disrespected them. Okay, and it might not be even you, maybe your own children. They might meet together somewhere somehow in the future, and imagine the embarrassment when your children bring somebody at home, and then you remember the name, and then you realize that, oh my god, this person is my enemy. So you are going to be transferring enmity to your own children, and you don't want to do that. Raji Jima, that is my sister, thank you for joining us, thank you for waving at us. I appreciate you coming. So that's why it's important that we want to maintain peace with everyone that we meet or that we associate with, regardless of their belief. You still do not have reason to disrespect, to hate, okay? Because opinion will always be differ every day, every time. But people, we will remain the same forever. We will always have things, a lot of things, okay, in common. We will always be pursuing the same thing. So understand that we might we might be different. We might understand the problem the same way, okay, but we might have different approach to solution, okay. Ali Utmani, thank you for joining us. So we might have different approach to solution, but problem is the same thing. We are all looking for happiness out there. We are looking for money. We are looking for joy. But our way, our approach might be different. So, but regardless of this approach, it doesn't mean that we should dislike ourselves and we should hate ourselves. And that's my message for you all today. Uh, watch out for the next week's session, because I will try as much as possible to do this every week now. So if you guys watch this, either you're online now or you are watching this after later, comment on anything or any topic you would like me to, but you will definitely be seeing me, inshallah, next week as well. If and when a common ground can be reached, there's nothing wrong with respectfully agreeing to disagree. I love you, Dr. Hector. I love the comment. Respectfully agreeing to disagree, okay? So, and that's the idea of, if you look at it, okay, it doesn't, we don't have to all agree to the same thing, at the same time. Okay, so at the end of the day, there's always be reason to argue, to disagree, right? But it does not mean you should disrespect the person. I like the word you are using there, respectfully agreeing to disagree. To later, and you are able to do that because you know that there's an emotion, there's a community, there's history behind whatever anyone believes. So let's leave it there, because I don't want this to stretch more than 1 hour, and it's exactly 1 hour right now. Dr. Hector, I appreciate your comment, and everyone online on Instagram as well as on Facebook and on YouTube. Thank you all for joining us, and I will see you in our next week session. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. Thank you for joining.